In the stillness of the world's wild places, sometimes death moves silently. It slips through the grass and dust, over stone and root, cold, patient, ancient. A simple flick of its tongue can read the air like a book. A single strike can change the fate of life itself. This is the art of poisonous killing. Imagine it. A drop smaller than a tear, clear as crystal, sliding through flesh and into blood. In a matter of seconds, the body rebels, muscles contract, vision darkens, the heart pounds and folds. One man falls, then another, and another. 30 lives cut short by something that could easily fit on the tip of a pin. This is not a myth. This is the reality of the most venomous snakes on the planet. They are creatures so lethal and efficient that a single breath too close can mean the end. From the deserts of Australia to the jungles of Asia, from the savannas of Africa to the rainforests of America, they rule in silence. Each is armed with lethal toxins, silent as a shadow. And now their world is about to unfold. The sun has not yet risen over the edge of the Australian desert, but even so, the earth is already steeped in heat. A faint ray of light spills over the horizon, glints reflecting off the stones, licking the edges of a world baked in silence. Beneath the cracked clay crust, something stirs. A shadow moves beneath the red dust, slowly, deliberately, ancient. From the stillness emerges the inland taipan, Oxyuranus microlepidotus. Barely 2 meters of muscle and precision, its scales shine with the color of sun-scorched earth. A pale olive green speckled with gold, fading to a deep brown near the spine. It is the perfect disguise. The air is cool enough to move, but only for a moment. Soon the sun will burn with such intensity that even the stone will seem to shrink in its presence. For now, the taipan glides across the salt flat, head held high, sniffing the air. Its tongue moves quickly and restlessly. A scent lingers. Warm, mammal, familiar, the desert rat. The taipan pauses. It doesn't need speed yet. Its small, coppery eyes scan the horizon. A hole half hidden by a rock lets out a faint breath of air. Beneath it, a labyrinth of tunnels spreads like veins under the earth's crust. The taipan lowers its head, sensing the slightest tremor in the ground. It begins to happen. It glides between the rocks with astonishing fluidity, its body sliding like water spilled on the ground. It stops. The ground vibrates again, a heartbeat, a scurry. The rat is close. In an instant, calm turns to violence. The taipan attacks, fast, so fast that the eye cannot follow it. The fangs penetrate deeply, releasing a drop of biochemical fire. Inside the rat's body, the venom begins its work. Neurotoxins paralyze the nerves, myotoxins destroy muscle tissue, and hemotoxins disintegrate the blood. In a matter of seconds, the small creature is paralyzed, its pulse weakens, and its body lies motionless. The taipan breaks free, watching, waiting. Efficiency is everything. It will not waste energy fighting for its life. When the spasm ceases, it returns, dislocating its jaws with impossible grace, swallowing the rat whole. Above, a bold eagle glides lazily in circles, its eyes sharp as obsidian. The taipan senses the flutter of wings before the shadow crosses it. It slithers toward cover, sticking close to the ground. The eagle swoops down, but too late. The snake has disappeared, hidden under a rock ledge. The bird lands, perplexed, scanning the surroundings. Below, in the cool darkness, the taipan coils, invisible once more. Hours pass. The desert becomes wild under the sun. Nothing moves, even the wind retreats. The snake waits patiently, its heart beating slowly, conserving water, energy, and time. Its metabolism slows to a standstill, as if the world itself has stopped. Only when the light begins to soften again, when the shadows lengthen and the air dissipates, does the snake move. It moves toward the entrance of its burrow, pausing at the threshold. Another presence. A brown snake, longer and slimmer, moves across the rocks. The two predators meet. For a moment they observe each other. The taipan flicks its tongue, testing its intentions. The brown snake stands its ground. Then, with a gentle undulating movement, it slithers away, disappearing into the undergrowth. A confrontation has been avoided, for now. In times of drought, the earth cracks and prey disappear. Then, even the most venomous royalty must fight for what remains. Weeks pass, the terrain begins to change. Dark clouds pile up on the horizon, low and heavy. The air thickens, electrified, charged with tension. The taipan senses it before the first drop falls, the deep pulse of pressure, the storm approaching. It takes flight from its burrow as the sky bursts open. Rain lashes the desert, filling dry creeks in minutes, soaking the earth that has been thirsty for months. Frogs croak, insects rise, and the scent of life spreads across the plains. The taipan moves among it all. The season of hunger is over. The season of renewal begins. The rains not only attract prey, but awaken old instincts buried in the blood. The taipan follows the pheromone trail of another, a female, mature. Her scent permeates the damp clay. When they meet, there is no affection, only the choreography of survival. They coil, twist, feel the air around them. For a moment, their bodies move in unison, a perfect tangle of scales and strength. When it is over, they separate. The days that follow are short and bright. The male hunts with renewed vigor, storing up energy before the heat returns. One morning, a shadow covers him again, a monitor lizard, thick-necked and armored, hunting the same prey. The taipan remains motionless, his head slightly raised. The lizard lunges, its claws tearing up the dust, but the snake is faster. A single strike to the front leg. The lizard writhes, stumbles, and slows down. The venom takes its relentless toll. Within minutes, it falls. The taipan watches the death in silence, its tongue brushing the fading heat. It feeds until the sun is too high, then retreats underground again. At the end of summer, the desert burns again. Water holes shrink to mirrors. Frogs disappear into the mud. The taipan retreats to deeper tunnels, to the cool breath of the underworld. There it will wait for months, emerging only when the heat allows, feeding sparingly, existing between pulses of time. Yet even there, in the stillness, its power remains absolute. In its glands are molecules that will stop life in a matter of minutes, not hours. A single drop, barely visible, has enough potency to strike down 100 people, to silence all the inhabitants of a small town. But the inland taipan does not kill for domination or cruelty. Its venom is a tool for survival. For now, the last light fades in the outback. The horizon begins to glow with something new. The storm that drenched the plains moves eastward, bringing with it the breath of another world. The air becomes humid, laden with scents. The red, cracked earth is transformed into mist and greenery. Trees grow where there were none before. The buzzing of insects intensifies. Beyond the edge of the desert lies another realm, of rivers, bamboo, and shade. There, amid the humid forests of Southeast Asia, a larger, smarter, and equally lethal snake awaits. The forest teems with life. Dawn filters through the dripping canopy. It turns every raindrop into a spark of gold. Cicadas chirp from the treetops. Frogs croak in the puddles below. Every leaf, every hollow trunk, every piece of bamboo seems to be alive. Somewhere in this green, pulsating labyrinth, a ruler stirs. From the thick undergrowth, the king cobra, Ophiophagus hanna, emerges. It is immense, 5 meters of pure muscle. Its scales gleam like polished bronze, each with a black edge that catches the slightest glimmer of light. The hood, when extended, forms a shield of power and warning. It raises its head even higher, almost to the height of a man's chest, and the forest seems to hold its breath. It does not crawl. It advances. The air is thick with scents. Its tongue moves, tasting the invisible trails that wind through the jungle. For it, the world is a world of chemicals, pheromones, fear, decay. One scent stands out, faint but unmistakable. Snake. The king turns, gliding over the damp earth, moving between bamboo roots slippery with moss. Every few feet he stops, sniffing again. The scent is stronger now. Beneath a fallen palm tree lies a small opening, dark and damp. The king lowers his head and slithers inside. A hiss, a warning from within. Spirals flash, white and black. A banded crate, lethal in its own right, but this is no match. The king strikes, swift as lightning, his jaws sinking deep. His venom floods the prey. In a matter of moments, the crate convulses. The king waits. The venom acts quickly, paralyzing the nerves, stopping the breathing. When the spasms cease, the cobra begins to feed. It takes time. The prey is large, the process meticulous. The jaws open excessively, the ligaments slide, the skull dislocates. Inch by inch, the predator consumes its fellow creatures. When it is all over, the king retreats into the shade, his body swollen and his eyes glazed with calm. He does not hunt every day. A single meal is enough to sustain him for weeks, but he patrols his territory daily. From the tangled roots of the bamboo to the banks of the forest streams, he glides like a current. Other snakes flee when they smell him. Lizards freeze. Even the monkeys in the trees fall silent when its shadow passes beneath them. Around noon, the air becomes thick with heat. The rain begins again, silver curtains filtering through the treetops. The king slows his pace, sticking out his tongue more frequently, searching for threats. A movement in the distance, a silhouette, fast and low. The mongoose, the only mammal bold enough to challenge him. The mongoose knows the danger, yet it circles, lunging forward and backward. The cobra rears up, hood spread. Rainwater runs down its body in perfect rivulets. The mongoose pounces. The king attacks, fangs against fur, claws scratch scales. For seconds, the forest explodes in a whirlwind of movement. Then, silence. The mongoose slips away into the undergrowth. The cobra stands its ground, then it moves. Instinct guides it deeper into the forest, toward the ancient groves where humans rarely venture. There it finds the place it already knew. A pile of leaves, damp but firm, stacked near the base of a tree. It slowly circles it, sticking out its tongue, and then sits down beside it. The nest. Its mate is here. It is smaller, barely 4 meters long, its scales lighter, more golden in tone. Around its rings inside the mound lie the eggs, dozens of them, white and leathery. She guards them with the ferocity of a lioness, attacking at any movement that approaches. The king watches her, his head bowed. For days, she will not eat, she will not leave. The heat of her body will warm the clutch, keeping the life inside stable against the cold of the monsoon nights. She turns once, twice, and then slithers back, patrolling the perimeter. Of all the snakes in the world, only this one builds and protects a nest. The days pass, the rains intensify, streams become rivers, rivers become lakes. The nest begins to soften, the water rises slowly. The female does not move. Her coils tighten around the eggs. Frogs jump on her hood. Insects cling to her scales. Still, she waits. Above, the king returns, watching from a low branch. His body glistens in the gloom, every muscle tense. When the water touches the eggs, he descends, sliding beside her. Together they begin to stir the mound, pushing debris aside, reinforcing the edges. It is not enough. The river will take what it wants. When the first eggs break, spilling their white into the water, the female strikes the surface again and again. The current increases, the mound dissolves. She remains there until there is nothing left, her rings now limp, her body trembling with exhaustion. Only when the water completely covers her does she swim to higher ground. The king follows close behind. The loss is great, but there will be another season. Eventually the waters recede. Life is reborn. The king moves again among the glistening bamboo, marking the boundaries of his world. A rival male appears, a huge snake, almost his own size. They stare at each other in silence. Then, without venom, without death, they rise. Their bodies intertwine, pushing, fighting for dominance. It is a ritual of strength, a battle for the right to rule. Leaves scatter, branches break. For minutes, they struggle, muscles contracting and slipping. Then the challenger yields, slithering into the undergrowth. The king descends slowly, victorious but unharmed. The forest falls silent once more. It rains again. The king cobra raises its head to the wind. Its venom, neurotoxic, fast and precise, could end a man's life in half an hour, paralyzing his breathing. A single attack could kill 30 people. However, it does not waste it. It only kills to eat and only fights to maintain the fragile balance of its kingdom. As evening falls, the light turns bronze. The forest exhales steam one last time before nightfall. The king disappears into the tangle of vines. Beyond the dripping trees, the earth begins to open up. Rivers meander toward wide, sun-drenched plains. The air dries, green gives way to gold. Far to the west, across oceans and time, another serpent basks in the African sun. The African sun rises strong and white, already burning the horizon. The savanna awakens under its glare. The golden grass trembles in the dry wind. The acacia trees cast long, lonely shadows. From a crack in a termite mound, something stirs. A narrow head, shaped like a coffin, ash-grey, it slithers toward the light. The black mamba, Dendroaspis polylepis, has returned to its world. It is long, almost 4 meters. Its scales shine with a silvery grey, blending perfectly with the dust and bark. Despite its name, its body is not black at all. The darkness lurks inside. In its mouth, when it opens to attack, lies the color of death. It flickered its tongue, tasting the air. The day is still young, and the savanna is already buzzing with movement. Rodents scurry out of their burrows. Birds chirp in the thorn bushes. The mamba begins to move. It glides with supernatural grace, head held high, body undulating like a ribbon of smoke. Unlike many snakes, it is a diurnal creature. The heat sharpens it, drives it to hunt. A rustle in the distance catches its attention. A jerboa, fast and fat from the grain left over from the season. The mamba freezes. All its muscles remain still. Its tongue moves again, once, twice, gauging the distance. Then it attacks. 2 quick, almost invisible strikes. Its fangs sink deep, injecting a cocktail of dendrotoxins and neurotoxins, a venom designed to paralyze the nervous system. The jerboa runs a few meters, then stumbles. Its legs tense. Its breathing becomes ragged. In a matter of seconds, it is motionless. The mamba watches from the shadow of a rock, unhurried. Its venom acts quickly. A single bite from it could kill 40 adult men. The dose it gave today is nothing more than instinct, just enough to stop a heartbeat, to hold the air. It swallows the jerboa whole, its muscles contracting in waves that plunge life into shadow. Then it rests, curled up under a tuft of dry grass. Its skin blends perfectly with the earth. At midday, the heat becomes relentless. The mamba takes refuge in her hiding place, a hollow tree near the edge of the acacia grove. She knows this place well. She has nested here for years. The bark retains the scent of her body, the faint musk of scales and dust. Inside, the air is cool and calm. She curls up and waits. Outside, the savanna stretches on. Herds of impalas float by. A vulture circles overhead. Even in this harshness, danger lurks for the hunter. A shadow crosses the grass, a martial eagle, its wings spread like the sky and its gaze piercing. It has spotted her. The bird folds its wings and dives. The mamba is already on the move. It emerges from the hole with a speed that no snake of its size should be capable of. It is estimated that it can reach 20 kilometers per hour, sliding like liquid over the rock. The eagle's talons cut through the air where it had been a moment ago. The mamba disappears into a maze of thorny bushes. The bird ascends in spirals. As evening falls, the temperature drops. The air cools, insects become bolder, and predators emerge. From the edge of the bush, another figure moves, a mongoose, slender and fearless. It stops near its tree, sniffing. The mamba watches, its head slightly raised above the grass. It knows this enemy well. The mongoose is swift and immune to doses of venom that would knock a man down in minutes. However, even immunity cannot stop an accurate attack. Both move in circles. The mongoose approaches quickly, feinting, retreating. The mamba remains motionless, waiting for that fatal misstep. Suddenly, a flash of movement, a leap too close. The mamba lunges. The mongoose spins in the air, the blow grazing its fur, missing by the width of a whisker. They separate again. The mongoose slips away into the twilight. The mamba descends to the ground. The night grows deeper. The stars shine cold and bright over the African plain. She curls up again in the hollow of her tree, conserving heat, her heart slow and her breathing shallow. In her veins, the same venom that could end a human life in 20 minutes lies dormant. Weeks pass. The rains do not come. The dry season takes hold. Dust covers the grass and prey is scarce. Now she hunts less often, conserving energy and relying on the fat reserves accumulated during the better months. Her skin becomes dull from the dust. Other mambas roam her territory, drawn by the same hunger. One morning, the scent of another person fills the air. A rival, larger, male, his musk carried on the wind. She senses him before she sees him, and when he arrives, the tension is instant. 2 snakes, mirror images, circling in the open field. There is no venom here, no death, only dominance. They rise, their bodies intertwining and colliding, writhing in a dance of strength. Dust swirls around them. The taller one presses down. She resists, her muscles tensing, hissing softly. After minutes of silent combat, she yields, sliding into the grass. The victor remains, tongue out, and finally the rains come. The sky opens wide, bathing the earth in silver. The savanna is transformed. The cracked soil turns to mud. Flowers sprout overnight and frogs croak in the puddles. The mamba emerges into this new world, her scales gleaming clean as water. Prey returns in abundance, rodents, lizards, and small birds. She slithers between the rocks, her hunger reborn. A sparrow flies too low, and in an instant she strikes. One bite, one sigh, and the bird's wings fold. The mamba feeds once more. During the rainy season, she will grow stronger. She will regain her fat. Her scales will shine. And when the next dry wind blows, she will retreat to lay her eggs, white, soft, hidden under the roots of her hollow tree. She will not stay to watch over them. But now, as twilight softens the earth, the mamba curls up near the entrance to her shelter. The savanna stretches endlessly before her, alive, trembling, full of danger and promise. A gentle breeze sweeps through the grass, whispering of distant storms to the east. She lifts her head, savoring the air once more. The scent is new. Wet leaves, more fertile soil, a promise of green. The season changes, carrying her into a different world. Beyond the plains lie denser, darker forests where the air vibrates with moisture and shadows breathe. The storm breaks, sweeping clouds toward the horizon. The mamba slithers back to her tree as the rain begins to fall. The savanna fades behind her, miles away on the same continent. The forest breathes silently. Rays of light fall like spears through the canopy, hitting the damp ground. Where leaves rot and beetles whisper, the air is thick, imbued with the smell of rain and decay. Here, beneath the broad leaves and tangled roots, a silhouette lies half buried among the rubbish. A pattern of brown, purple, and cream tones blends perfectly with the ground. Only the faint glint of an eye betrays its presence. The Gabon viper, Betis gabonica, waits. It is enormous, as thick as a man's forearm and over 1.5 meters long. Its head is triangular, broad and heavy, adorned with 2 horny scales above its nostrils. Along its back, fragments of cinnamon and chocolate are arranged like fallen leaves. This makes it invisible even to the keenest eye. It does not move, not for hours, not for days. Its body is the forest floor. A whisper runs through the undergrowth. A rat, bold and oblivious, sniffs the edge of a fallen branch. Its small claws scurry over the dead leaves, sounding like rain. The Gabon viper feels the vibrations in its belly. Its muscles tense silently beneath its motionless body. Its tongue flicks once, absorbing smells and heat into its mind, sharpened by hunger. The rat approaches. Then, without warning, it strikes. It happens faster than the human eye can follow. The strike lasts less than 1/10 of a second. Its fangs, the longest of any venomous snake on Earth at 5 centimeters, penetrate deeply. A torrent of venom rushes into the rat's body, a mixture of hemotoxins and cytotoxins designed to shred blood vessels, destroy tissue, and cause organ failure. The forest floor falls silent once more. The rat twitches once and then never again. Its venom does not kill instantly, but it kills completely. Within seconds, blood thickens, flesh liquefies, and delicate vital systems collapse. For a human, without treatment, death would come within hours. Internal bleeding, swelling, and collapse. A single bite could end 20 lives. However, it uses it with precision, never striking without purpose. It waits a moment longer, making sure its prey is motionless. Then it advances, opening its mouth wide, its fangs folded as its jaws extend over its food. Its body undulates in slow, muscular waves. When it is finished, it becomes still again. The slight bulge in its abdomen is the only sign of the violence that has just occurred. Around it, the forest vibrates. Frogs croak in the puddles. Insects buzz. A civet passes by, its snout twitching, searching for larvae. Above, a hornbill drops a seed that bounces on the leaves and disappears into the darkness. She feels it all, yet she remains a ghost. The hours pass. The air cools slightly, a thick mist spreading between the trunks. A soft, persistent sound approaches. The civet returns, sniffing closer, perhaps picking up the scent of its last meal. Its whiskers brush a branch near her head. Its pupils contract into 2 slits. The civet hesitates. The forest holds its breath, but the civet moves on. The viper does not waste its venom on a challenge too great, unless forced to do so. It can remain in the same spot in the forest for a week, even a month, feeding only when opportunity presents itself within reach. Its metabolism is slow. With the end of the dry season, the forest changes. The air becomes more humid and dense. Every afternoon, clouds gather and burst into sudden, violent storms. Rainwater drips from the treetops, pools around the roots and fills the burrows. This is the season of renewal, and with it comes abundance. Frogs multiply, rodents scurry about, and birds descend from the highest branches to feed. The gaboon viper moves more frequently now, awakened by hunger as it senses the scent of life in motion. It glides over the leaf litter, making no sound. It pauses often, tasting the air with its tongue. At dusk, it finds what it is looking for, a small duiker, delicate and agile, nibbling on fallen fruit. It aligns itself, inch by inch, until its head is only a meter away. The attack, when it comes, is devastating. Much faster than the duiker's reflexes, the fangs sink deep into the leg, pumping venom in enormous quantities. The duiker howls once, stumbles and collapses into the undergrowth. Within minutes, its blood begins to run dry and its tissues dissolve from within. The viper waits in the shadows, watching. Death is certain. Above, a figure moves, a leopard. Its eyes shine through the dripping leaves, picking up the faint scent of blood. It creeps closer, its muscles tensing beneath its spotted coat. The viper senses it too late. A paw strikes, heavy and precise. It spins, hissing, contorting its body to strike back. The leopard retreats just in time, its claws scratching its flank. Then, just as quickly, stillness returns. The leopard retreats. The Gabon viper lies wounded but alive, its scales torn and its body coiled in defense. Days later, its wound heals, new skin grows, smooth and pale. The rains intensify, pattering incessantly on the treetops. She moves again, driven by an ancestral call. Somewhere in this forest, another waits, a male, attracted by the scent. They meet under the dense humidity. Two giants with symmetrical patterns slowly entwine among the roots. Their movements are slow, ritualistic. The forest seems to stop around them. No sound, no struggle, just the soft rubbing of scales and the rhythm of breathing. When they separate, the air becomes even denser, charged with renewal. Soon she will give birth to the next generation, dozens of live young, each a perfect miniature, ready to vanish into the leaf litter. Meanwhile, the air remains low over the Indian plains. The afternoon settles in layers of gold and smoke. The last rays of light spill over rice fields and wild grass. The heat of the day lingers, pressing down on the earth. From the shadows near a group of rocks, something stirs. The ground itself seems to move. A coil, thick and earth-colored, slips free from the dust. The Russell's viper, Deboia russelli, begins its hunt. It is not large for a large snake, barely measuring 1.5 meters in length, but its body is thick, muscular, and features an intricate pattern of bronze, beige, and dark brown circles. Its eyes shine like molten amber, large and unblinking. It moves slowly, its body gliding smoothly over the ground, its tongue playing with the night. During the day, it hides under logs, in dry hollows, sometimes under the thatched roofs of huts. But the night is its kingdom. That is when the fields come alive. Frogs croak in the puddles, mice scurry among the stalks. Crickets chirp in a relentless rhythm. She hears it all. Every vibration through the ground tells her where life is moving. She stops near a group of burrows. Rodents, fat, unsuspecting after the harvest. She curls up tightly, her body half buried in the grass and her head barely peeking above the ground. The viper waits, motionless. Minutes pass. An hour, then a whisker, a tail, movement. The mouse emerges. The attack is sudden, savage, infallible. A flash of movement, the slight sound of air splitting, and then stillness. Two long fangs, articulated like daggers, sink deep into the mouse's flesh. A pulse of venom follows, dense, hemotoxic, designed not to paralyze but to destroy. It floods the tiny bloodstream, tearing blood cells apart, coagulating some, breaking others. The mouse collapses, convulsing, Within seconds, its blood stops flowing properly. Within minutes, life is completely extinguished. She waits patiently until it stops moving. Her venom is not clean. For a human, without treatment, it would mean agony, swelling, bleeding, kidney and heart failure within hours. A single bite could end 20 lives. Yet she attacks only to feed, not out of anger. When she feels threatened, when a footstep comes too close, a hiss escapes her like steam. It can stop a man dead in his tracks, frozen in the darkness. But the farmers who work these fields often don't see her. Bare feet tread the tall grass. A moment of carelessness is enough. Every year, thousands of people accidentally encounter her fangs. She kills more humans than any other snake on the subcontinent, not through aggression but through proximity. Tonight, however, the field is empty. It swallows its prey slowly, its jaws gaping and muscles rippling across its thick body. When it is finished, it rests under a clump of reeds. Beyond the field, a kite circles overhead, its sharp eyes searching for movement. The viper is too well hidden, but it has other enemies, swift mongooses that hunt by scent, immune to doses of venom that would kill an ox. One passes close to it now, sniffing, its tail twitching nervously. The viper senses it through the earth and flattens its body. It blends perfectly with the dust. The mongoose stops, listening, then it moves on, chasing easier prey. The snake remains motionless for hours. The night intensifies. The air fills with mist and mosquitoes. In the distance, thunder rumbles, the promise of the monsoon. For weeks it has sensed the change coming, the humidity rising, the earth softening. When the rains come, everything will change. The fields will flood, the burrows will drown, the prey will scatter. The snake will have to move, adapt. The first drops fall before dawn, heavy, thick and warm. They hit the ground like drums. The snake emerges when the water floods its hiding place. Lightning flashes across the horizon, revealing its figure slithering among the rice stalks half submerged in the mud. Frogs leap everywhere, insects swarm. It strikes again and again, feeding before the deluge forces it to climb to higher ground. By noon, the world is water. The fields have become shallow lakes. She finds refuge in a mound of earth under a fallen tree, curls up tightly and waits. Days pass. The rain does not stop. The land is flooded. But life always endures, and as the waters slowly recede, a new season begins. Now she weighs more, her body brimming with life. Russell's vipers do not lay eggs. They give birth to live young, tiny versions of themselves, each already armed and ready. The moment comes quietly, on a humid afternoon steeped in the scent of wet grass. She curls up tightly and trembles. One after another, the tiny snakes slither free. 20, 30, 40 of them, each barely the size of a palm. They scatter instantly, disappearing into the reeds. She watches for a moment, then walks away. Her part is done. The world around him buzzes with the sound of crickets, frogs, and the distant splashing of cattle moving along flooded paths. He slips into the water, head held high, swimming with slow, deliberate strokes. As the sun rises, steam rises from the earth. The fields shine green and gold once again. The farmers return to tend the rice, barefoot on the soft earth. The snake stays on the edge, on the border between the wild and the tamed. Now it hunts among the rocks where small lizards bask in the sun. A quick strike, a soft hiss, a prey consumed without waste. Every night it feeds, sheds its skin, and grows. Its body darkens with new scales, brighter and stronger. It listens to the earth, the crunch of its prey, and the distant rhythm of the rain, recognizing them both by touch and smell. From time to time, it encounters others of its kind. Sometimes they peacefully share a piece of land separated by invisible borders. Sometimes they clash. Two females meet near a pile of rubble, their bodies rearing up, hissing, coiling. They attack, not to kill, but to claim territory. When it is over, one retreats, marked but alive. At dawn, she returns to rest under a discarded log. For now the fields are full, the monsoon is steady, and the night is overflowing with food. But the seasons change, as they always do. Soon the rains will cease, the earth will crack, and the air will grow hot again. The snake will retreat into the shadows, biding its time. A breeze stirs the grass. It carries a different scent, salt, distance, jungle. To the south, where the wind turns warm and humid, the forest thickens into something ancient and green. The snake slithers through the grass. The wind changes. The air smells of distant seas, of deeper jungles across the water. To the south, beyond the shores of Asia, new worlds await. New world, bursting with spirals and color. There in the jungle, night falls quickly. The shadows lengthen and merge until the forest becomes a single living, breathing body. The atmosphere feels heavy. It is permeated with the smell of wet leaves, earth, and decay. Beneath the canopy of trees, under a blanket of fallen foliage, something stirs. A pale triangle glitters in the gloom. The fer-de-lance snake, Bothrops asper, is awake. It slithers slowly forward, its scales shining like oiled bronze, with a pattern of black and brown diamonds that blend perfectly with the litter-covered ground. It is barely 2 meters long, but it is as thick as a man's wrist. Its tongue moves in and out, tasting the air. It senses something, movement, the soft rustling of small claws. A rodent, gathering. It positions itself under the leaves near a narrow path traveled by countless nocturnal creatures. There she will wait. The forest buzzes around her. Insects chirp, frogs croak, and somewhere above a monkey lets out one last cry before falling silent. The fer-de-lance remains motionless, a weapon waiting for its trigger. Her body is cold but alert, her head tilted, her heat-sensitive pits open to the world. They detect the temperature of the air, the blood pulse, the heat of the prey. The minutes pass. Suddenly a rustle, a brown rat, its snout twitching, emerges from the undergrowth. It crosses the path in a hurry, oblivious to the danger lurking just inches away. In less than an instant it attacks. The movement is explosive, a whirlwind of motion, muscles deflating like a released spring. Fangs, as long as a man's thumb, pierce the flesh. The attack is over in less than 70 milliseconds. The rodent squeals, staggers and dies in a matter of seconds. The fer-de-lance retreats, waiting for the venom to take effect. Its bite produces a terrible mixture, hemotoxic and proteolytic. It destroys from within, bursting blood vessels, breaking down tissue and turning flesh into liquid. A single drop could kill 30 people. For the rat, it is instant death. When it feeds, it swallows its prey whole. No chewing, no pause, just slow, efficient consumption. In this humid world, food spoils quickly. It eats when it can, rests when it must. The jungle rewards patience. It is both hunter and danger. Its species is responsible for more snake bites in America than any other. Farmers clearing brush, travelers crossing forest trails, all risk stepping too close. The fer-de-lance snake strikes out of fear, not malice, but its venom is unforgiving. Flesh blackens, limbs swell, blood oozes from the skin. Without treatment, death can come within an hour or drag on for 6, cruel and inevitable. At dawn, it retreats deeper into the shadows beneath a tangle of roots. When the sun rises, it barely touches the forest floor. Parrots squawk in the treetops. Ants march in dense black rows across the earth, but in this abundance, danger lurks. The fer-de-lance butterfly is not alone. Above, a harpy eagle circles, its broad wings cutting through the air. It hunts monkeys and sloths, but occasionally it also hunts snakes, especially those that stray too far from cover. The viper remains motionless, its body camouflaged by the roots. Later, at dusk, it begins to rain. First softly, then torrentially. Within minutes, the jungle becomes a drum. Every leaf vibrates to the rhythm. The snake emerges from its shelter, tasting the water with its tongue. The rain awakens life. The frogs croak frantically. Rodents run for shelter. Prey scurries everywhere. It slithers through the puddles, its muscles flexing with silent strength. Under the deluge, it finds a frog crouching under a fallen leaf. Another attack, another prey. Its venom not only kills, but initiates digestion from within. It swallows, rests, and waits for the next pang of hunger to drive it forward. The rainy season is its time of abundance. Prey abounds, rivals prowl, males, guided by scent, follow invisible trails in search of females. 2 of them meet under a fallen palm tree. They raise their heads, coiling their bodies, and fight in silence. No bites, no blood, only strength decides dominance. The victor keeps the territory. The defeated retreat, slipping into the shadows. When it mates, the fer-de-lance does so in secret. Hidden among the roots, their intertwined bodies move with slow, deliberate grace. Months later, it gives birth to live young, tiny replicas with already functional fangs and lethal venom. They scatter instantly, each destined to follow its own path. In the jungle, independence begins at birth, but abundance fades. With the decrease in rainfall, the rivers shrink and the forest dries up. The humid air turns to dust. Now it must travel greater distances in search of food. The nights grow longer and hunger increases. The leaf litter crunches under their scales. Once they find the trail of another predator. A large boa constrictor has taken over their territory. The two meet at the edge of a fallen log, their bodies tense. The boa is larger, heavier, but slower. The velvet snake attacks first, sinking its fangs deep. The boa coils, thrashing, but the venom acts quickly. Soon the forest is silent again. As the days pass, the dry season becomes more apparent. Streams trickle through cracks, and the once green canopy of trees fades. The fer-de-lance heads for lower ground, drawn by the faint moisture near the riverbank. There, among rotten logs and mist-shrouded rocks, it finds refuge. The jungle has thinned, but even now it pulsates with life. Capuchin monkeys chatter in the distant branches. An ocelot moves stealthily through the undergrowth, its amber eyes scanning the air for movement. The feline pauses, nostrils flared. It senses her. For a long moment, predator faces predator. The viper stands firm, head held high. The ocelot hisses softly, weighing the risk. Then, with feline precision, it retreats. The fer-de-lance snake crouches again. As night falls, fireflies rise into the humid air, their lights flickering like shooting stars. The snake slithers among them, a shadow among embers. Its body, damp with dew, glows faintly in the darkness. It heads toward a narrow path that leads to open ground, the edge of its world. There, beneath the last trees, the ground becomes sandy and the air thinner. Here, the jungle begins to fade away. Meanwhile, far away, on another continent, the Middle Eastern desert sleeps under a white moon. The wind blows over the dunes, whispering among thorns and stones. The night is cool. The air is filled with a slight movement. Beetles scurrying, a lizard slipping away into the shadows. Under a flat rock, buried in the sand, a ripple begins. The grains shift. A small, pale brown viper emerges from its hiding place. Its eyes catch the moonlight like drops of molten gold. The saw-scaled viper, Equus carinatus, awakens. Barely half a meter long, slender and muscular, it moves with subtle precision. Its scales gleam with a faint serrated edge, pale on the sides and rough as sandpaper. When it slithers, it leaves no trace. It emerges from its burrow and pauses, sniffing the air with a slight flick of its tongue. As the last of the heat dissipates from the stones, the snake begins to move. Its body undulates with a strange and efficient rhythm, gliding over the cooling sand. Each movement leaves a looping trail, a record of speed and intent. It hunts at night when life dares to stir. Small lizards, gerbils, crickets, anything that moves and breathes is fair game. It stops near a bush. Under the thorns, a mouse scurries. It curls up instantly, motionless, its head slightly raised from the sand. Its pupils contract. The tongue moves again. The world is reduced to heartbeats and heat. It feels it, the pulse of blood, the slight sway of breath. Then a flash. A strike too fast for the eye to follow. The fangs penetrate deeply, inject, withdraw. Its venom is dark alchemy, a mixture of hemotoxins that tear tissue, breaking down vessels, turning blood to water. It is designed not only to kill, but to annihilate. The mouse stumbles, trembles, and falls. Within minutes, its organs begin to fail. Even a drop of this venom could kill 5 adult men. For its prey, it is lethal. It feeds quickly, swallowing it whole. Then it rests. Above it, a barn owl glides low, its silent wings tearing through the moonlight. The snake senses the vibration of the feathers, the faint shadow. It freezes. The owl's talons graze the sand and miss. The snake disappears beneath the surface in an instant. It burrows in with sinuous twists until only its eyes remain above the grains. At dawn, the desert will burn again. The stones will scorch. The air will vibrate with heat. For now, it slips back into its burrow, letting itself be cradled by the cool sand. The hours pass in silence. Its heart slows down. Its body conserves energy, water, heat, breath. In this world of extremes, stillness is survival. Night returns. The horizon turns orange, then fades to violet. The viper rises again with infinite patience. It heads for a shallow wadi where moisture lingers a little longer and prey abounds. On the way, it encounters another of its kind, a male, smaller, lighter, and restless. It approaches cautiously, swaying its body from side to side. When two saw-scaled vipers meet, peace is never guaranteed. Food is scarce, territory is precious. They circle each other, hissing softly. Then the whisper begins, the sound that gave it its name and legend. It rubs its rough lateral scales together. This produces a dry, harsh hiss, like sand sliding through glass. The male responds in kind, and the desert echoes with their eerie song. For a moment it seems they are about to attack, but then it lowers its head, slinking away. The night belongs to her. The desert is full of rivals. Foxes hunt in the dunes at dusk. Scorpions prowl the crevices, armored and venomous. Even other vipers, desperate with hunger, sometimes attack their own kind. Here, every creature walks the thin line between predator and prey. But the saw-scaled viper survives where few others do. Weeks go by without rain. The earth cracks. The wind blows away the top layer of soil, exposing bird bones and beetle exoskeletons. The snake digs deeper every day, following the cooler sand. It will wait for the drought to pass in silence, curled up in a hollow where the heat cannot reach it. Its body slows down until it almost disappears, breathing once every few minutes, its heart barely beating. Then one night the wind changes. Clouds gather on the horizon. A distant flash illuminates the dunes. It is followed by thunder, soft and strange. Rain falls from the sky, hissing as it hits the sand. The snake emerges from its burrow, sticking out its tongue in amazement. All around it the desert is transformed. The air smells of life. Seeds buried for years sprout overnight. Frogs, silent for months, begin to croak. The snake moves swiftly across the wet sand, its scales glistening with dew. It is its season. Now it hunts in abundance, feeding after a long period of hunger. The rain also brings others, mates, rivals, and opponents. Males seek her out by her scent, attracted by invisible traces in the humid air. When they find her, they fight, twisting, contorting, their bodies raised and intertwined, force against force. The victor wins the right to pass on his lineage. Soon, deep in a hollow under a rock, she will lay her eggs. Small, white, perfect. She will not protect them. Her work is done. The desert will decide their fate. Days later, the rain stops. The earth dries again. The streams disappear into the sand. The cycle closes. The newborn vipers will emerge into a more hostile world, tiny but fully armed, with sharp fangs and venom at the ready. The adult watches the horizon from her vantage point under a rock. The moon rises, a pale disk above endless dunes. She moves once more, gliding with ease, her body a ribbon of movement against the starlit earth. Each glide brings her closer to new territories, new prey, new silences. Soon the horizon will change again. The dry air will soften, and the scent of green will return. To the south, far beyond the dunes, lie the forests of Africa, wet, bursting with new life. Morning light filters through 1,000 leaves. Sunlight flickers like coins scattered across the forest floor. High above, where branches intertwine to form a green cathedral, a slender shadow moves. It glides between the dappled light and the leaves. Absolute silence. Its scales shimmer with iridescent shades of emerald and bronze, the green of the moss, the brown of the bark. This is the boomslang, Dyspholidus typus, the silent killer of southern Africa. Barely 2 meters long, but incredibly slender, it moves like water among the branches. Its head is small, triangular, perfectly sculpted, with huge eyes that never blink. Its eyes face forward, unlike most snakes, giving it binocular vision. From this height, it observes everything. A lizard sunbathing on a twig, a chameleon camouflaging itself on a branch, the fluttering of a bird's wings as it tends to its nest. The boomslang lives in a world of stillness. It hunts not by chasing, but by invisibility. It sways gently in the breeze, mimicking the leaves. Its tongue moves, tasting the air, translating scent into knowledge. Below, a weaver bird flutters toward its nest, carrying a twig. The boomslang remains motionless, every muscle tense. It waits. Minutes pass. The forest hums with the chatter of insects, the whisper of the wind through the acacia leaves, the distant song of the hornbills. The snake remains completely still. Only its eyes move, following the bird's trajectory. Suddenly, a fleeting movement. The bird lands. A soft hiss, barely audible, escapes from the boomslang's throat. It attacks. The movement is fast, fluid, and precise. The bird flaps its wings once, then falls silent, hanging lifeless in its nest. The snake retreats, waiting expectantly. Its venom, a powerful hemotoxin, begins to take effect. It seeps into the veins, destroying the blood's ability to clot. Within minutes, the victim's body becomes a torrent of internal and external bleeding. Even a single drop, diluted, could kill 10 adult men. However, death does not come instantly. The bite of this snake may seem mild at first, almost painless. Hours later, blood begins to ooze from the nose, eyes, and gums. But in the treetops, there is no cruelty, only survival. The boomslang feeds, swallowing slowly. When it has eaten, it coils itself along a sunlit branch, warming its slender body. Its scales glisten like glass, catching the light that seems to pass through them rather than reflect off them. Below, danger looms. A shadow glides across the ground, the broad wings of a black eagle. It scans the treetops, its eyes piercing the foliage. The boomslang crouches, flattening itself against a branch, remaining motionless once more. The eagle passes. Hours pass. The forest changes with the day. Lizards dart about, insects buzz. Birds sing from their nests above the line of sunlight. The boomslang moves again. It climbs higher, searching for eggs. Near the top of a marula tree, it finds a weaver's nest, carefully woven from dry grass. The opening faces downwards, a narrow entrance that only the smallest predators could reach. But the boomslang is designed for precision. It lowers its narrow head, contorting its body delicately. Inside, the mother flutters in panic. One strike, silent and imperceptible, and the nest falls silent again. It eats the eggs carefully, one by one, crushing them between its jaws. Then, satisfied, it returns to rest. But not for long. A robust, muscular tree monitor, its claws digging into the bark, climbs the same tree. Its tongue flicks, tasting the scent of eggs, blood, life. The boomslang senses it before it appears. Their eyes meet across a narrow branch. The lizard lashes out with its tail, scratching the bark with its claws. The snake coils tighter, its head held high. The tension is palpable in the air between them. The monitor lunges. The boomslang slithers to the side. Its body disappears into the foliage, winding through the vines faster than the lizard can follow. The chase lasts seconds before distance swallows them both. Night falls quickly. The forest darkens, turning gold, then amber, and finally black. The boomslang finds a hollow branch, slips inside, and curls up in the cool belly of the wood. There it will rest. Its heart slows. Its breathing deepens. In this hidden chamber, it will sleep until dawn. When morning comes, the forest changes again. Mist rises from the ground, enveloping the trees in a silvery halo. The boomslang slithers out of its hollow, its tongue flicking to taste the air. It senses that the season is changing, spring. In spring, the treetops become a battlefield. The males, with brighter colors, deeper greens, and brighter eyes, move among the treetops in search of females. When two meet, they rise, bodies intertwined, striking not to hurt but to dominate. Their combat is a dance of spirals and balance. They push and twist, wrestling until one yields, sliding away defeated. The victor claims the right to reproduce. When he finds a female, she waits among the leaves, calm and still. They entwine. Hours pass before they separate. Months later, she will lay her eggs in a tree hollow, entrusting them to the care of the forest. The young will be born fully armed. As summer gives way to autumn, the treetops begin to thin. The leaves turn brown and fall. The forest brightens, light breaking through where shadow once reigned. Prey becomes scarce. The boomslang hunts less, moving only when hunger demands it. Winter in these lands is mild, but the nights grow cold. The snake seeks refuge in the hollow of a rotten log and curls up inside. There, in the darkness, it will wait for the season to pass, its heart beating more slowly and its body conserving energy. Weeks will pass. When the first rains return, the boomslang will awaken again. The treetops will vibrate with the rustling of insects, birds, and frogs. The green snake will resume its silent patrol, gliding invisibly between branches and shadows, a ghost that kills without making a sound. For now, the forest breathes softly. The sunlight fades and the boomslang curls up silently. Below, the wind stirs the fallen leaves. Dryness permeates the air, evoking deserts, sand, and salt. The season changes. The leaves fall away. They float down, one by one, carried eastward by the wind. Beyond these trees lies another world, one of coastlines and cliffs, of dry winds and sea mist, a land where red earth meets the sea. We arrive once again in Australia. The mist of dawn rises from the edge of the rainforest, soft and silvery against the dark green canopy. In the dim light of dawn, the fields, stretching beyond, glisten with dew, vast expanses of sugar cane rustling in the wind. Beneath them, hidden in the damp earth, something stirs. A narrow head emerges from the lid of a hollow log. Pale eyes gleam in the new light. The coastal taipan, Oxyuranus scutulatus, begins its day. Almost 2.5 meters of muscle follow, smooth as silk. Its body is tan on the back, fading to cream toward the belly. The head is long, coffin-shaped, sculpted for speed. The air hums slightly as it moves its tongue. Somewhere nearby, under the sugarcane, something small rustles. The taipan moves like a shadow. It can detect the slightest heat of a heartbeat, the tremor of breath in the grass. It glides forward, its body flowing between the stalks like smoke. Ahead, a rat scurries, fat from the abundance of the season, unaware. Then, movement, illumination. The snake strikes too fast for the eye to follow. 1 bite, 2, 3. Each fang injects a fraction of a drop, a measured storm of venom. The rat jumps, convulses, and falls motionless. The taipan retreats, watching. Its venom is a mixture of paralyzing neurotoxins, muscle-tearing myotoxins, and coagulating agents that seal the fate from within. A single drop could end 15 human lives. Within minutes, the rat's body lies inert, its nerves paralyzed. The taipan feeds carefully, swallowing whole, dislocating its jaw with astonishing precision. Its body undulates as it contracts the muscles that absorb the food. When it is finished, it rests in the cool shade of the reeds and earth. It has eaten enough for several days. At midday, the sun burns with a white glare. The fields glisten in the heat, and the forest buzzes with insects. The taipan takes refuge in its lair, a shady hollow under a fallen tree where its roots entangle the damp earth. There it waits. The day outside becomes unbearable, and even this creature of death needs to rest. As evening falls, life returns to normal. The heat softens, the shadows lengthen, the taipan slithers out again, tasting the breeze with its tongue. It moves with cautious grace, winding its way through the grass and vines. Across the field, a brown snake basks on a rock, motionless, staring into nothingness. The two snakes share this land uneasily. Both are predators and rivals by nature. They sense each other instantly. The taipan raises its head and tenses its body. The brown snake hisses and coils defensively. For a tense moment, both remain motionless, assessing each other, deciding. Then the brown snake slithers backward, yielding ground. The taipan lowers its head, calm again. It needs not fight unnecessary battles. The night is full of easier prey. Above our heads, a bird of prey circles overhead, its broad wings cutting through the fading light. Its eyes follow the movement below, but the taipan is already gone, slithering into the undergrowth, disappearing as if the earth itself had swallowed it. Night falls. The rainforest hums, frogs croak in damp ditches, and the air is heavy with moisture. The snake moves with renewed confidence, crossing from field to forest. Here the ground is soft and brimming with scents. Bandicoots, wallabies, and nesting birds. The taipan pauses at the edge of a small clearing, flicking its tongue rapidly. Its prey is close. A small marsupial jumps into the clearing, its nose twitching. It sniffs and freezes. Too late. The taipan's attack is a blur. The animal collapses in seconds, its muscles contracting in spasms before going slack. The venom acts quickly. Neurotoxins paralyze the nerves. Myotoxins tear the tissue. They stop breathing before fear can arise. Its venom is one of the most potent on the planet. Every hunt carries the risk of injury. The faster the prey falls, the less chance there is for it to fight or for the enemy to counterattack. At dawn, the taipan has fed again. It retreats once more deep into its burrow where the air is cool and calm. A new day begins, and with it, a new cycle of life and death. Weeks pass. The rainy season begins to set in. Thick clouds gather over the forest. The air is filled with the scent of rain. When the storms break, they do so with fury, thunder shaking the trees, rain pelting the leaves. The fields flood and the world becomes liquid. For the taipan, this is abundance. The floods drive rodents from their burrows. The land is teeming with life and with it opportunity. After the rains, the taipan population increases. The abundance of prey grows, as does that of hunters. Males disperse in search of females. The hottest months bring fighting and courtship. Two males meet under a blanket of rain, their bodies coiled and writhing in a silent struggle. They do not bite. They fight for dominance, their muscles intertwining and sliding in a hypnotic tangle until one falls, immobilized, defeated. The victor rises and advances toward his mate. When he finds her, she waits for him under a tangle of vines. They circle each other, savoring the air. Slowly, their bodies entwine in an almost tender movement. Hours later, they separate, and the female slips away into the darkness in search of shelter for her eggs. In the following months, her young will be born, miniature versions of herself, each already armed with venom potent enough to kill. By the end of the rainy season, the forest begins to dry out, the rivers shrink, the fields glisten under the returning sun. The taipan hunts less now, conserving its energy during the prolonged heat. It rests under rocks, in hollow logs, in the cool shade of termite mounds. The outside world grows quiet again, but not completely. Predators continue to prowl. A monitor lizard with black and gold scales sniffs at the roots. It detects the scent of the taipan and stops. Both animals sense each other's presence, but neither moves. The taipan waits. The monitor lizard moves away, driven by hunger. As the months pass, the sun sets lower. The air grows colder. The taipan moves less frequently, preferring stillness to movement. And then, one morning, the wind changes. It blows harder, carrying salt and splashes of seawater. The edge of the rainforest trembles with it, the leaves turning silver in the gust. Soon the storms will return. The fields will flood. The cycle will begin again. But for now, the snake retreats into the shade of the earth, coiling itself up. As the night progresses, the circle closes. Venom's story ends where it began.